What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Big Miller Basketball Show. This is officially episode 16, and I am breaking down day two of the boys' state finals in Hot Springs. Got two really good matchups today. Two opponents that are very familiar with each other, or I should say four opponents, I guess, two sets of two opponents who are very familiar with each other. And then we'll crack it right on off. We'll get started with the 3A boys. That game is going to be between Osceola and Newport. I'm pretty sure there's nobody that doesn't know that. But if you didn't know and you don't know a lot about these teams, that's why you're here today, right? That's why you're tuning in. And if you do know a lot, then you're going to probably learn something, maybe one small fact that you did not know today, rocking with me, all right? And so getting to highlight the last year's 3A winners, which were obviously the Osceola Seminoles, who are looking to run it back to back. We're going to check out real quickly the bracket and see how they got here. So we go 3A boys bracket. Get this up on the screen for you guys. Let's see here. There we go. So, boom. Top of the bracket, right? A lot of people had Riverview picked to go pretty deep into this run. They had a very upsetting buzzer beater loss in 3A last year with a very solid squad. A lot of people thought they had really high hopes and chances to get there as well to Hot Springs last year. But unfortunately, we see kind of how that played out running up against Bergman, who had really good size in the inside and a core group of guys that have the experience who were there in Hot Springs 2 years ago. And then obviously trying to make their way back again. They got great coaching over there with Coach Bo Martin. And it seemed to be enough to stop Riverview here in this second round. This top half of the bracket was super competitive. I mean, a lot of people didn't know about Subiaco, but if you did, I guarantee you thought like, oh my God, I don't really want to see them. And then come playoff time, they match up against Newport, and Newport gives them a run down the stretch, a big run in the fourth quarter to help those guys overcome the deficit and pull through strong and stay ahead. And so, like I said, a lot of people had teams in this top half of the bracket picked to go ahead and take it all. A lot of people were high on Lamar, athletic, long team, pretty young. Lost one of their very good players in the early goings of the season, in Kendrick Carr, who's a junior. He'll be returning next year. I'm pretty sure at full strength, ready to rock out. Easton Leeds played amazing for Lamar, especially in this game. He's another sophomore name that kind of no one watch out for. But moving along, getting to the point, right? Newport down here battled it out with Lakeside. Good 20-point win in the first round. Overcame Subiaco, like I was just saying, and then matched up with Bergman in a really competitive game to determine who would make it to this championship game. This was another game very much like the Subiaco game where it came down to a final stretch in the game, and it was just like Newport literally just strung together enough plays right there at the end to kind of pull the win out. If you want anything from a championship team, it's to be able to get going, get things consecutively going, back-to-back plays, whether it's on one end of the floor or the other, but towards the end, down the stretch of the game, right? That's what you want out of a championship caliber team, is in the crucial, critical moments for them to show up, step up, play hardest, play their best, and make the biggest plays in that moment. And so that's what you got out of Newport. Pretty much in the Subiaco and Bergman game. So if they can keep that riding high until they get over here with Osceola, then who knows what to expect. Moving on down to the bottom half of this bracket, DeWitt was pretty solid. If you don't know, you'll probably figure out here in the next few years. Their core is pretty young. They're junior led with their guard and freshman led with another guard. Those are the Cox brothers, Lathan and Xavier. And so those guys are solid down there as well. Quick shout out, little tidbit right now. Big E, we're praying for you down at DeWitt, man. Elijah Burgess, we're praying for you. Been dealing some crazy tough things as far as your health goes, and man, we're just looking to see you get back on track. It has nothing to do, honestly, with basketball. It has everything to do with you as a young man. Just getting back to your feet, feeling like yourself again is what we're all hoping and wishing and praying for. And so, just big shout out to Big E, Elijah Burgess over at DeWitt. But yeah, DeWitt fought hard in this game, but just wasn't enough to battle with Rivercrest down the stretch. Rivercrest is two senior-led dogs who are football commits, but those guys are amazing athletes on the court as well. They proved that, like I say, the other night. If you watch this Osceola and Rivercrest game, it lets you know a lot about those guys. these opponents are very familiar with each other. So everybody that's in that Northeast Arkansas region, everybody especially that's in within an hour or two of these towns, understands the rivalry and the camaraderie, right? It goes both ways. Like they hate each other on the court and then love each other off the court. So that's a great thing that you want to see from these young men. And I wouldn't even say hate each other, but obviously, just I want to beat you bad as you want to beat me, right? So that creates that knocking heads mentality. But great sportsmanship out of both of those teams in that game as well. Skipping kind of down, like I say, kind of moving backwards here now to see how Osceola ended up getting here. Knocked off Drew Central. Drew Central was a solid team. They made this game a good game in the first half, and then Osceola just stuck to their P's and Q's. That defense was a monster in the second half, and they held Drew Central to very little points in the second half to go get the win. Providence was a team kind of like Subiaco in Northwest, smaller schools. In the Northwest, everybody kind of knows about your Fayettevilles and your Bentonvilles and your Springdales and your Fort Smiths. They'll tend to look, kind of overlook a Providence Academy, a Shiloh Christian at times, right? Especially on the basketball side of things. So Providence came in, had a good game against Harding. Harding was a lot better than I expected them to be this season, but they were good. They made it there. Like I said, they fought through their region and their district to get there, and so gave Providence a good game, but Providence just stuck to their big three of sorts. If you've ever watched Providence, you kind of know they're a three-headed monster, and one night one guy maybe more on than the other, and so you never know really who's the star, quote unquote. But Providence really solid team. They just ran into an Osceola team who was riding the high. They came off of this game, finished this second half. They knew what they had to do to get here, and then to get here, I think they locked in on this game, knowing that they were going to have to play Rivercrest, and that was a big anticipated matchup. They locked in on this game double time, ended up pulling out a near 20-point victory in that one. To go on to face Rivercrest, like I just said. And if you saw that game, it was magical for those guys, man, to go out in their last game against each other, right? As far as Rivercrest, facing some of the guys that they grew up with and played with for most of their life, to all come full circle for that last final game of their senior season to end their careers at Rivercrest. So good game here. Osceola pulled that one out late in the game with a couple of free throws. And moving on, man. So we got the big matchup here in less than an hour now. I believe we're at halftime of the girls' game. I clicked off like 2 to 3 minutes before halftime to start this, and I could have been off, obviously. But Manila girls are playing McGee girls. That was a very good game while I was tuned in for the first half. Very competitive, back and forth, lead changes, back and back. And so this will be the game to follow that here in about 45 minutes or so. And that's what we're here for today, man, to bulk it up and beef it up. You got Newport versus Osceola. And so when I dive into Osceola for talking about this state championship game, I'm going to go click this tab here and share this one instead. And so you guys can see this box score from last year where Osceola obviously was in the championship as well. So these few things right here tell you a lot, right? First of all, anytime you look at a box score and it's got the minutes listed, you're going to see guys who were impactful, right? Jeremiah Jacobs, Jerry Long, right? Those guys were seniors who were no longer there. So somebody had to step up and replace those minutes, right? So this year, what I've seen is it's been Anthony Brown in a huge way at the guard spot. Cash Span has gotten a lot more minutes than 11 as well. And then they've had other pieces that came along as well. So Chris Wilkins no longer there either. Jerry Long no longer there. Jeremiah Jacobs no longer there. But a young core, especially of the offensive bulk between Tyler and MJ, right, with 30 shots nearly, right, is still there, still thriving, still alive. And so this is what you can expect to see once again. These two guys should be your top dogs once again. You're going to have Anthony Brown in here making a lot of plays, mixing things up. He's a nice little shooter, nice little guard, plays active defense on the edge. Cash Span, good athlete, plays well in space, plays pretty good defense and passing lanes as well. And so you can see here in the first, they got going pretty well, pretty early, 6 for 13, kind of steady shooting for the game, kind of steady pace for the game, 13 shots, 14 shots, 9, and then 13. That's a little bit of a third quarter drop off. So if I were a coach looking at this from last year, I would be thinking maybe this is where we can get him at again, or even in this second quarter, right, where they only hit 3 shots. They shot 21% from the 2 and 0 from the 3 and 0% from the free throw on 4 shots. I would look to capitalize in this second and third quarter against them just based off of this last game if I were Newport, right? And so this box score can tell you a little bit about something, but it does not determine what's going to go on in this game today, right? The only thing that determines what goes on in this game today is those young men and the way that they show up and ready to play, the way that their coaches got them locked in. Those are the things that will matter and stand out in this game, right? For Newport, I don't know how long it's been since they've been back here. but I know it's been quite a while. It hasn't been any time, I feel like, in the past probably 8 years. I could be wrong about that. I'm gonna try to see if I can find it real quick here. I don't think I'm wrong about that, but I mean, obviously I could be. I'm not the know all be all. Let's see. See if I can find Newport on here. Newport. All right, so it looks like I was correct. This is actually their first trip ever. Make sure, yeah, boys basketball championship game appearances. This is their first ever appearance in the state championship game. So big kudos, big shout out to them for even getting there, right? Big shout out to their coaching staff. If I'm not mistaken, I believe they're 2 seasons in now, maybe 3. But to do that for a team who's never been there and within such a short amount of time speaks volumes to what that coaching staff has done for those young men and poured into those young men as far as the development, the confidence, setting the standard, and then helping them obviously realize that they have the potential to make it there, right? So very, very good job by Newport. I mean, we'll see what they have to bring in this game, right? They're not too senior led, right? But they do have a couple seniors in Trey Greer and Darren Braxton who can make plays, right? Braxton's been very, very good in critical moments all throughout these playoffs. So I would not expect. I mean, I would not be surprised if he comes out tonight doing some of the same things, whether it's early in the game, middle stretch, or down the end, like he's done most part. It's been a defensive led approach for him. Great heavy active defense, pressuring defense, turning into easy offense on the other end. Quick steals and runouts, quick steals and advancing the ball ahead on the break for the guy to go finish in traffic. But very, very, very key players right there for you as seniors. And then you've got Justin Russell, who a lot of people already know. He's the interior anchor. He's the size. He's the rebounder. He's the force near the paint. He will be a problem to match up with. Osceola's got some length and a little bit of size as far as height, but they don't have anybody that kind of matches that size, height, length, weight of Russell. And so it'll be very, very good to see them have kind of a small advantage of size and to see also if they can or how they will use it. I always love, like I say, man, I'm a coach myself, so I love looking at these chess matches and these battles. Excuse me, you guys, my throat is killing me. I love looking at these chess matches and these battles between coaches and situations where they have to figure out what piece fits and what works, and then the adjustment to the adjustment and then the readjustment. So I think this will be a very X's and O's type of game because the athleticism is pretty evenly matched on both sides of the ball. These guys play together well. Both teams are a good core nucleus of guys that stick together and keep their heads together. And then they're kind of a good mix of Osceola's got a couple seniors, they got a couple sophomores, a junior or two. Newport's the same way, right? They got a senior or two. They got really good, junior and sophomore class, like I say, with Travaris Hardaway and Justin Russell. And then on the Osceola side of the ball, like we just talked about, you got a sophomore, Jalen Hatch. He's been very, very critical in these playoff stretch in this playoff stretch for the Seminoles. Then you got Tyler Bell, MJ Washington, who are coming back with that experience. Also, 2 football athletes who are signed to go to the next level and play football. And so, like I said, you just got a bunch of athletic guys on the court who have played together for quite a while, stuck together for quite a while, and that will be a huge, huge difference maker on when it gets to those tough parts of the game, neither team being able to kind of get down on each other or one guy trying to take over and be the hero or the star, right? Those are very team-led approaches. Very good coaching on both sides. Coach Bazemore for Osceola. And so, like I say, this will be a very, very good chess match. This is honestly a toss-up game to me. If I had to pick, and I don't think I picked on yes, I did. I picked yesterday. I did. I was about to say I don't think I did. But I did. If I had to pick, I'd probably say Osceola, just given Newport. I rock with you guys. I rock with Osceola as well. I even coach a couple guys or work out with a couple guys on Newport. And so this is nothing, like I say, a personal opinion or anything like this. This is honestly just my educated professional expertise, so to say, right? I'm picking Osceola just built off the core senior-led strength and then obviously the experience of being here last year, everything riding on the back to back. I think that'll be a lot of fuel for their fire for them to go in, not make any mistakes in this game, especially early on, and kind of try to get to it early to have everything kind of last for you later. I don't know why or what this is popping up. I'm gonna guess that was something from high school SI. An ad probably from high school on SI. Okay, so 3A boys, that's kind of breaking it down and kind of get you all the way through it. We see kind of how it led up here, what it'll be, what it'll stack up to look like. About 40 minutes from that tip off now. And so, man, if you're a Newport fan out there, if you're an Osceola Seminole fan out there, stay locked in, man. Go ahead and get to your spots, get your seats now if you're down there at the game. If not, if you need to catch or tune into anything, I'm pretty sure you guys all know it's streaming on Arkansas Activities Association website. Or excuse me, I'm sorry. You can find the link there to PBS Arkansas from Activities Association website, streaming on PBS Arkansas as they do all the state final games for boys and girls every single year. But yeah, this will get us done with 3A, man. That'll wrap up 3A, and we'll move over on to 4A. I think this is probably out of like what's left or who's played or whatnot. This is probably the most highly anticipated matchup. Maybe because it's two Central Arkansas teams, and so like it's just a lot surrounding that from one huge fan base, which is just all of Central Arkansas who loves basketball. It's almost the basketball mecca, right, of Arkansas as we know it. And so when you look around here, you see more. To me, I think 4A was more like prospect driven than like full team driven. There were one or two prospects on almost every single team in the 4A. I talked about it on a couple episodes that 4A was probably the deepest I've ever seen it as far as next level collegiate prospects and the levels that they could go play at. Like we haven't always had 4A guys who were D1 eligible, right, or D1 talent. A lot of our 4A guys have been, D2, JUCO, which nothing wrong with that. I tell kids this all the time. Follow your path. Your race is your race. JUCO leads to D1. D1 can lead to nowhere, right? So, and vice versa, right? And so I just always try to tell people that does not matter, but get to your spot, live out your dream, hustle hard as you can, and see where it takes you, right? But back to what I was saying. I think 4A is more prospect-led than anything. There are a lot of great pieces and a lot of great players, but not just teams as a whole or teams that have a lot of depth past like the 6th or 7th guy. So you get to looking around here, and Brooklyn's one of those teams. Lane Webster's a monster, D1 kid for sure. Whether he will go play basketball at the next level is still very, very much up in the air at this point. Would love to see it. If not, I understand. Like I said, every kid has their own path. Every kid has their own race to run. Some kids are that talented and want to go do something else. Some kids want to go be a doctor, a lawyer, a nurse, an engineer, right? And so there's nothing wrong with that at all. You can be a great athlete and you can still just go to school afterwards and be a great professional, whatever you do. So Brooklyn moved on to the second round where they faced Hall, right? And if we're watching this, we probably know that Hall's going to end up in this championship round over here. So that didn't help Brooklyn very well. Also, the fact that they were only able to put up 34 points against a Little Rock Hall team, there was no way I thought that they were going to win this game. Even if I just looked at this, there's no way you could have told me, right? Even if I just looked at Brooklyn scoring 34 points, there's no way you would have told me that they were beating Hall. I would have never guessed Hall to score under 34 points either. So that was a huge shocker to me that Brooklyn only put up 34 points in a high school 4-quarter game. Especially when I've seen Hall, they let Nashville put up 50 on them, which Nashville and Brooklyn are pretty evenly matched. Brooklyn was that 1 seed in this, out of these guys. You just didn't see a 1 seed putting up 34 points. Very good coaching by Hall, very great defense by those guys as well. So moving along, Hall did knock off Nashville here by 20. Nashville just didn't have all the pieces. Like I say, just a few guys, 1 or 2 here or there. Didn't have everything that Hall has. Obviously, Hall has a D1 prospect on the floor themselves, and Michael Moore. They've got Landon Hill over there, Jay Sullivan. That core is extremely tight. They got Tristan over there, Shah. They've got a ton of guys over there, that are pretty much senior led as well. Every guy that I just named was a senior, and so I mean, you got 6 to 7 seniors. on one squad, with their mind all kind of set. Like, we've been here, we know why we got here, we know why we came here. If you transferred in or whatnot, right? So those things all play a huge factor in, when it comes down time to win playoff games. As simple as that. Literally, when it's time to win playoff games, you lean on the guys who have been there the longest. You really go to your expertise, right? You really go and count on your experience. Looking down here, before we get to this semifinal round, we'll kind of talk about this bottom half of the bracket, or the bottom of the top half. You got Shiloh and Gosnell, Star City, and Fountain Lake. I honestly did not see Star City going home in this first round. I knew Fountain Lake was really good, but Star City's had an incredible season. They've had a really good season, and I did not see them, once again, same way I never suspected them to only put up 30, 38 points, and I didn't expect it to be this big of a blowout win. So I can very openly say that and admit that. Like, if I had made a bracket or something, I probably would have picked Star City to win this game, and Fountain Lake surprised me. Shiloh Christian is a team that I've been high on all season. I don't know how many other people have, or how many people just kind of, overlooked it or didn't believe in the hype. Duke Bowman's also another prospect that I've been pretty high on for the past couple of years. He'll be playing basketball as well next season, D3 at Simpson in Iowa. Good kid, smart, respectful. Bunch of stuff that I could say about him, but moving on. So ended up being Shiloh versus Fountain Lake. So you had Duke Bowman for Shiloh Christian, and for Fountain Lake, you had Dylan Detmering. Very good guard face-off right there, between, the likes of what could be two D3 guys. I'm not sure where Dylan's going. Dylan could be D2, D3, same way as Duke could have been D2, but he's D3. But both of these guys definitely are college athletes on this floor. And once again, it speaks to what I said about 4A boys in general, is just being prospect-led and prospect-driven. You probably don't have a full team of prospects. You probably don't have 7 to 10 guys on the team that are good, but you got those prospect-led teams like these who were able to push into the next round. This was an extremely good game for this semifinal round. Shiloh Christian did not come in and lay down. They just did not have the energy and effort to match Hall that game. Hall's energy and effort level were on top of the moon. It's almost as if, like I say, when you get to that semifinal rounds, like, you start smelling blood, like shark in the water, right? Start smelling blood, right? And so the attacks get heavier. You lock in just a little bit more. It becomes a little more real. Like, hey, we're one game from reaching out, beating these guys, and reaching out and grabbing the next one. You know what I'm saying? So when that realization hits for a lot of kids and they lock it in a little bit more, the discipline, the effort, it's things that coach doesn't have to say as much, right? It's things that you guys are coaching each other up on out there on the court. And those are what lead to these type of wins right here, where you come in playing a very good opponent who you're not super familiar with. Shiloh Christian doesn't make a bunch of trips to Central or to the other parts of the state throughout the season. So you've probably seen a little bit of film, but you haven't had a chance to get up close and personal on the court with them. And then you do. And so you're like, okay, cool. I think we can come out, stick to our game plan. When your game plan starts working, your confidence goes through the roof, right? So then you're able to just kind of build and build and build. As long as you keep playing defense, that game plan is kind of working, it's knocking, it's ticking, and everything normally, seemingly, ends up pretty okay for you. And then so we'll get back over to the bottom half of this bracket, right, where a lot of people had a couple winners on this side, right? Some people had Blyville making it all the way. I know a lot of people have had Mills as well. And some people obviously had Magnolia or Morrilton. Morrilton returning from, losing as a runner-up last year. Magnolia was a favorite to kind of get further in last year and lost in the first round. So this was like a super exciting matchup in the first round to see, like, hey, does Magnolia make it out the first round again? Or does Morrilton, the runner-up from last year, get X'd out in the first round this year? So that was very exciting. There was a lot of storylines behind this one. Good coaching on both sides from Coach Wade and Coach Zachary. Very, very, very good game right there. Although Magnolia was able to come through, pull this one out, and take the win, move on to the next round. Ozark and Forest City was a battle. A lot of people slept on Ozark. Just like I say, that's a non-familiar opponent for most of the teams around the rest of the state. The Northwest teams are kind of, Northwest dominant. So Ozark was a team that you haven't seen much outside of Northwest or the River Valley area. And you didn't know what to expect. I mean, they show up, they're mascots, the Hillbillies, and you're like, man, do these guys even really hoop? Do these guys, what's really the word? Like, are they just a bunch of athletes? Are they a bunch of football guys? Do they play baseball? Like, or are they really hoopers? And then you get out there, you see a kid like Cooper Durr, who's a junior, go out there and go light it up. And you're like, this is not what I exactly had expected, right? As a player, as a coach, I'm pretty sure you do your scouting. You watch your film. You know what's going on in the world of basketball around you. But as a player, you're looking at these dudes step on the court and unseemingly like, man, I'm probably, I'm probably just as good, if not, And then these guys go out there and give it to you. They punch you in the mouth early. They let you know, hey, we're here to play. And they ride that all the way through the end of the game where it comes down to the stretch. It's a couple tough plays, a turnover or two, and a couple free throws, and Ozark pulls that one out. Mills does a light work job of Watson Chapel. We talked about this on a few episodes. I think they held Watson Chapel to like 10 points in the second half. Great game by Mills, great dominant performance, showing why they earned their spot where they are playing today. But then we've got this Blyville and Pottsville game, very solid game. Pottsville, formidable opponent. D2 guy J.C. Jones going to Arkansas Tech next year, staying home. Very good to see. But once again, like I say, speaks exactly to what I was saying about this being a prospect-led conference, as well as far as all of these teams go. Pottsville's not a super deep team, kind of prospect-led, as I was speaking to, and then a couple of other guys who are good role players or solid in their positions. And they could have honestly beat Blyville in this game. Blyville's athleticism, speed, and defense was a little hectic towards the end of the game, and I think they just knocked Pottsville off, and that was helped Blyville pull out the win. Excuse me. Mills knocked off Blyville by 2. If you watch this game, you know this was a super exciting game. Blyville had a chance to win it at the end, ultimately just fell short. This game was almost every bit of what I expected out of a championship game, right? This was a very, very highly anticipated matchup where both people, like I say, coming in thinking like probably whoever wins this game gets to the championship. A lot of their fan bases kind of thought that as well, and it held true for the Mills University Comets. They got this dub, moved on to play Magnolia. Pretty solid game here. Mills just outmatched Magnolia everywhere they turned. They called their number. They were just too much for them in this game. And that led to, like I say, where we are now, what we're talking about here in about 30 minutes or so is going to be kicking off. Hall versus Mills, the 1 and 2 out of their respective regions. This is a game that people have been wanting to see. They wanted to see it kind of last year. This will be the matchup, I think, of the entire playoffs. I know a lot of people are looking forward to Parkview and Marion, myself as well, for sure. I really am looking forward to Parkview and Marion. But I think this one just has the potential, of what it actually sounds like, right? When we break it down, when we're real about it, right? You got Anthony Hester, D1 commit, Micah Moore, D1 commit. These are 2 D1 commits. Arkansas State, Hester, and Euler, Micah Moore, right? 2 D1 guys hitting the floor facing off for the state championship. Both Little Rock fan bases, right? You do have to think about the magnitude, that of importance that it builds around this game. Kind of for your own legacy, right, as a D1 prospect, and for your school. Mills obviously coming off grabbing it last year, trying to go back to back. Hall trying to upset that, stop that. Everything that we know about Hall with is their school closing? Are they going to stay? This will do a lot for their legacy as well. Especially, that'll be quite a Cinderella story for them to go out, win it this season, and then maybe possibly not ever have a school, again, and go in the history books that way. Or for Mills, to ride it high, get the back-to-back, right? Under those 2 top D1 commits, you have great supporting cast on both sides, right? Like I just talked about Hall a little bit. You got Jay Sullivan, you got Landon Hill, you've got Tristan Jonke, or Janke, excuse me if I said it wrong. You got Shah Rahman, you've got tons of guys, right, with talent. You've got a great supporting cast on that side. And then for Mills, you've also got a great supporting cast, right? You've got guys like Marshall Walls, Isaiah Curry. You got guys like Vance Cunningham and AJ McCray. Those guys are fully loaded over there at Mills. And anybody's name I left off is obviously not for any other reason than I'm just naming names off the top of my head, right? But both of those teams are loaded with supporting cast who can go out there, pitch in, and maybe be the star of this game outside of the 2 top star names that they have, right? And so when you get a mix of adversity like that, you get a clash like that of kids that are very familiar with each other, who played with each other almost all their life. Some of these guys were teammates in junior high or in elementary, right? Some of these guys played AAU together probably in the last season or two, right? These guys see each other in open gym all the time. These guys see each other in workouts and training sessions and stuff like that all of the time. Camps everywhere you go, blah, blah, blah. There is a lot of fuel to this fire. This game is a huge, huge, huge big time statement matchup. And it's huge for the state of Arkansas as a whole, right? For the sport of basketball and for the state of Arkansas. For Little Rock in general, this is very big. I know that Little Rock fans are loving this. No matter if you're a Hall fan or a Mills fan, you have to be very excited about everything and the impact of the game for these young men. We're about 25 minutes away from that game. I'm pretty sure the girls' game is wrapping up now. The boys are probably getting ready to run out and get some warm-ups going. So that means it is my time to wrap up here with you guys. I do appreciate everyone very, very much for tuning in to episode 16. 20 concurrent viewers right during the middle of an actual playoff game means a lot to me. I'm on here by myself once again today. I don't have my co-host or any of our other partners with us today. And so, man, it's very, very much appreciated for everybody that tuned in. Thank you to T9G Media for dropping a couple comments, talking with me here, chatting ball on the channel. You guys make sure you do me a favor and go follow Big Miller Events on Instagram. There we go up top. Follow Big Miller Events on Instagram, man. Go tap in with us. Check out all the content that is there for the likings of you all. There's recaps. There's shorter stuff than, if you miss something in this episode, we try to clip it up. You can go back and watch it. Maybe it's something you want to share with your family, your friends at home as well. And so you go back home and you get a chance to do that from the short version on Instagram. I know a lot of people love their IG pages. This has been episode 16 of the Big Miller Basketball Show, 3A, 4A Boys State Finals Preview. Appreciate you for tuning in. Coach Vic signing off.